Hey there everybody, it's Mecha Draco coming to you with another video, and in today's video we're actually going to talk about gun control again. So as some of you may or may not know, I did a video on gun control previous Friday, and I've decided that I wanted to start doing political videos every Friday. I figured that would be a good thing to start doing for you guys. And I also figured that what I would do is, in this particular video, is I would discuss a little bit about why gun control is still a big thing in our nation, and of course go over a little bit of what Trump has decided to start throwing at us. Now, with that being said, I do obviously want to, of course, say that I'm not defending Trump in any way. I completely disagree with what he actually specifically stated here in this little meeting that he had on Wednesday, February 28th. Unfortunately, it seems that I can't seem to find any videos that are just of the meeting itself. The majority of them are of CNN videos or ABCM videos or some other Fox videos, other things like that, that are taking what he says, putting it into its own particular context, and then, claiming what they want to claim about what it is that he says. Even Fox is doing it, which, I mean, honestly, we all knew Fox did stuff like that anyway, so it's neither here nor there. But regardless, the point that I'm trying to get at here is that he didn't actually specifically say what it is that he said. After watching several of the videos, after going over everything that he said, he does in fact say to take away guns first and then worry about due process later. That is something that he does specifically say. However, the issue is that the conversation that he was having with the other individual was somewhat taken out of context. He was having a conversation about the shooter in Florida. He was going over very specifics of the shooter in Florida. He was even referring to the individual as a mentally handicapped, violent individual, and several domestic disputes and other things like that, and saying how they should take his guns away and worry about due process later. And I kind of understand his argument there. However, again, I feel as if this response, regardless of the context, regardless of what his statement actually was and such, it was clearly a irrational response to a tragedy. And it almost feels a little like he's kind of having an irrational response to the NRA. Like perhaps the NRA said something to him, perhaps they were having a discussion or something along those particular lines with someone or something in that, and it just got his blood boiling, so he ended up making a knee-jerk reaction to his discussion that he was having there. And he goes on this whole line of questioning of what are we going to add to the gun control lists, what are we doing here? And he's obviously, of course, very for apparently a new thing. He wants to move up the age to 21 to be able to purchase guns, which I don't believe is right. I think that honestly, if you could die for your country in the military, you should be able to drink alcohol, smoke cigarettes, and buy guns. You're an adult if you're old enough to die for your country. That's my opinion, but I digress. Moving on from that, though, I will say that there's a couple of other things that he's been introducing or trying to implement into gun control methods. I believe that he's also trying to push for further vetting, I guess you could almost call it, or background checks, essentially, further punishments or other things like that towards individuals who try to sell guns, say at a gun show. Or something else along those particular lines. He's also, of course, introducing several implementations of faculty of schools being allowed to carry guns while on school campus and everything else along those particular lines, which I'm not entirely against. I think that it's an interesting concept, and I certainly think that it has its merits. I don't necessarily think it's the answer, but I certainly feel like that's a legitimate response, a legitimate use of our faculty's abilities and times, since they are there to protect the people, and they are there to teach. They are also there to protect them in their own little degree. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't other things that we should be doing to further protect our children, such as for better education and other things along those particular lines. However, that doesn't mean that we can't take an immediate reaction or immediate action to perhaps arm those who be willing to do so to be able to protect their children that are in school. Regardless, though, let's move on from that. Now, one of the biggest things here I will say is that I believe that this is probably Trump's biggest mistake that he's ever made. The reason why I say that is because a lot of people who voted for Trump, a lot of the people who support Trump, are individuals who strongly support the Constitution, they strongly support the Second Amendment, they strongly support their guns. And the fact is, having their guns removed is not something they ever want. Now, of course, again, Trump never said that he wanted to remove everyone's guns, but unfortunately, the mainstream media, including Fox, is already blowing it up out of proportion to make it seem like that's what he wants to do. And the fact is that it's a huge mistake that he even said what he said, the very bare minimum. And if he doesn't do some kind of backtracking, apologetics, or other things like that to cover his ass, he is going to be in a world of hurt. Because I can already feel the drainage of approval from him simply because of the fact that he made mention that guns should be taken away without due process. And that, just the fact that he said it, regardless of the fact that the way he said it, regardless of the context of why he said it, just the fact that he said it is uncomfortable for everybody, especially people at Fox. I mean, Fox really doesn't like it. I mean, you go watch any of Fox News and stuff, they're losing their shit over it. And everybody else is just hyping him up and saying like, oh, well, you know, and of course, but they're not, of course, in favor of him. Not really. They're kind of going on this whole, oh, he wants to take all guns. Ooh. You know, and he's applying that whole, they're applying a lot of that fear factor into people. And of course, more people watch mainstream media than they do anything else still. I mean, regardless of what we hear on YouTube or other places are trying to do, we still have more people watching these things on mainstream media. And they get the misconstrued idea that Trump wants to take all guns, when in reality, it's nowhere near that. Do I agree with what Trump said? No. Do I think what Trump said was in any way right or has any kind of whatever kind of meat to it? Not really. I honestly believe that it was just a irrational response to a tragedy or an irrational response to the NRA. Like maybe he had a conversation with the NRA and had an irrational response to them. Couldn't tell you for sure on that one. I also believe that for the general most part, Trump's made a huge mistake here. I think that he really should have been listening a little bit more closely to a few of his cabinet members, I guess you could say, perhaps his vice president. Regardless, he should have probably been listening to them a little bit more clearly because of the fact that this is going to really hurt him. And I think that we can all agree that this is one of those things I don't think he's going to be able to recover from. Anyways, though, I am going to go ahead and end the video there. I do apologize for having to talk about gun control again, but hey, I think it's a topic that we seem to all be talking about as of right now, so figured I'd bring it up. But I certainly hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, you guys know the drill by now. And of course, as always, guys, good luck out there. And don't forget to have fun.